As the manager of a transportation agency with employees who may come into contact with harmful materials and waste in the workplace, I want each and every one of you to pay close attention to the important information this Transportation Workers Waste and Harmful Materials Awareness Training Program has to offer. As you go about your jobs of designing, constructing, and maintaining transportation facilities, you need to be aware of the health and safety risks of the harmful materials you may use or accidentally encounter. When using potentially harmful materials or working around them, you must always follow the manufacturer's instructions and standard health and safety precautions. If you unexpectedly encounter hazardous materials or waste when working in the field, keep your distance and immediately report your findings to your supervisor. Also, I want you to know that this awareness training program itself will not equip you to work with harmful materials and waste. Much more intensive waste management training is needed before you use, store, handle, or dispose of those materials which may threaten two of your most precious possessions, your health and safety. Thank you.
On any given day, maintenance personnel are involved in a lot of different activities. Some of these could expose you to harmful materials. Our mission in this tape is to help you be more aware of the presence of common harmful materials, and by being more aware, you can better protect your health and safety by minimizing your exposure to harmful materials. You're probably aware of some of the harmful materials and situations connected with your job. So here's a quick quiz to get us started. We're going to show you some maintenance activities. Which do you think is likely to expose you to harmful materials? Degreasing an engine part, spray painting a truck, asphalt work, pipe cleaning, and litter pickup. Okay, which one did you choose? You could have chosen degreasing because of the cleaning solvents involved. So that's a possible right answer. Spray painting would be a logical choice because of the harmful ingredients in paint or solvents. And of course, you should be aware that exposure to concentrated fumes from asphalt may be harmful, since these fumes contain irritating and toxic chemicals. So if you chose asphalt work, you're on the right track. You never know what you'll find in a large pipe or box culvert. So that's a possibility too. And these days you could find anything in a common household garbage bag. So even general litter can be harmful. This is the kind of quiz that everyone loves. No matter which activity you selected, you get a passing grade. All the possibilities could, now let me emphasize that again, could expose you to harmful materials. That does not mean that your jobs are unsafe. It means that you need to know more about the presence of harmful materials and situations, know what to do to protect yourself, and know how to do the job correctly. Why? Our industrial society has done an excellent job of leaving harmful materials behind. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency lists Pennsylvania second in the country in Superfund waste sites. And what about unidentified sites? There may be plenty of those too. Harmful materials could be found anywhere, on state highway rights-of-way, in active or abandoned buildings, even in unexpected places like pipes, culverts, and stockpiles. And don't forget about the products you use in your work. They're useful, yes, but some are harmful and require you to follow safety precautions. What we're dealing with here is a case of the known and unknown. If you're working with cleaning solvents, pesticides, or fuels, known harmful materials, there are precautions to follow. But what about the unknown? The buried waste, the seemingly harmless trash, or the unmarked materials found in inlets or streams? If you suspect the presence of a harmful material, what do you do? In these and similar situations, we'll give you guidance, because some materials may be harmful to your health and safety if you don't take proper precautions.
I'm a firm believer that I, myself as a manager, demonstrate to the people working for me that I'm conscious of safety. I constantly bring it to their attention that after a while it becomes something that's normal to them. It's a habit every day after a while.
When we say harmful materials and wastes, we mean substances that could pose a risk to your health or safety or the environment. Most harmful materials are in solid or liquid form. Such materials may become more harmful if you breathe fumes created by mixing or using some chemicals, or when you allow vapors to escape, for example from opening containers which may harbor harmful materials, or when you stir up dust, which you could breathe or carry with you on your clothes. Now that we've covered the basics, let's take a look at some real work situations. Litter along the highway, rest stop, or anywhere on rights-of-way is becoming a common occurrence. Such litter is probably not harmful, but you need to be aware that it could be. So don't take chances. Some harmful wastes are deliberately and illegally dumped on our rights-of-way. Red garbage bags are a clear warning sign to stay away, so don't touch or attempt to move them, since medical waste or unknown harmful materials may be contained in them.
I'll get a couple pounds and cut this off.
In these cases, secure the area and notify your supervisor.
Come over and take a look at it. There it is there.
Yeah, that's medical waste. How about getting you guys with me, sir? Secure it, and I'll go back and call in on the radio.
Before you act, look the litter over carefully, wear leather gloves. If you decide to move material like regular green or brown garbage bags, keep them away from your body. When you're cleaning pipes or culverts, you're likely to come upon a variety of unknown materials. Most of them won't be harmful, but some of them may be, and it may not be obvious at first, so you have to be on your guard and ready to act. If you encounter anything suspicious, like industrial discharge, you should vacate the area immediately and report it. And remember, raw sewage is a harmful material because it's a health hazard. When you come upon it, treat it as you would any other harmful material.
When it's safety involved, they gotta wear safety glass or gloves or boots. If they don't follow instruction, then they gotta get off the job.
So no matter whether you're dealing with a known harmful situation or come upon a previously unknown one, be aware of the proper action to take. There are three main actions to remember. If you have any suspicions of the presence of harmful materials, secure the area and inform your co-workers. Report the situation to your supervisor immediately. And seek medical attention if you think you've been exposed. One of the most important parts of your action is communication. Make sure the people who need to know do know. That includes your on-site co-workers and your supervisor. Communicate your concerns immediately. This will reduce the risk of exposure for everyone. Okay, let's take a look at how you can identify the presence of harmful materials or wastes. Your most important tools are your senses. Your sense of sight is your best tool. Not just to look, but to really observe any possible danger signs, like red garbage bags, hazardous waste labels, DOT hazard labels, or stressed vegetation. Read and heed the labels on chemicals you use. Your sense of smell and touch should be used carefully. Be cautious about inhaling any fumes or dust. If it's not necessary to touch unknown substances, don't do it. Wear gloves and proper protective gear if you do. Most of all, use the control center for your senses, your brain. Be suspicious of anything out of the ordinary. Think before you act. What happens if you are exposed without proper protection? How do contaminants enter your body? It could occur through inhalation. Entry by breathing is the easiest method. Or through ingestion, by eating or drinking. Wash your hands thoroughly after exposure and before eating or drinking. Or through dermal absorption, by absorption through the skin or an open wound. In all of these major exposure situations, contaminants are picked up by the blood and carried throughout the body to areas where effects may be felt immediately or later. While the effects of exposures are not the same for everyone, there are two important factors that will normally affect you. The first is dose. Both the length of exposure and the amount of concentration of the exposure are important. Obviously, as these get more severe, so will the effect on you. The effects of some poisons, however, may not be noticeable immediately and so are especially dangerous. Lead poisoning, for example, accumulates in the brain and organs and may not bother you until after permanent physical damage has occurred. So the rationalization of, I've been doing this job for years and I'm just as healthy as the next guy, can be fooling yourself. When the effects of the accumulation become obvious, it may be too late to hope for recovery. The second factor affecting you is the type of contaminant. There are acids and caustics, which irritate, poisons, which attack a particular organ or nerves, carcinogens, which cause cancer, asphyxiants, which displace oxygen and cause suffocation, and medical waste and sewage, which can cause infection. Since maintenance personnel are involved in so many different activities, you can see how important it is that you know the danger signs and think out situations to minimize your exposure to harmful materials.
And working in the type of work that we do, they got to recognize that we're a high-risk operation day in and day out, whether it's on the road, in the garage, in the shop, and they have to be conscious of what they're doing. They can't take it as a routine matter. They have to develop a habit that's safe, and they have to continue. Don't be lazy. Most people that get hurt are too lazy to be safe.
Well, one of the things I always worry about is the eye protection, is mainly the main thing, because I see a couple of friends of mine have lost their eyes. It's always good to wear the gloves and the eye protection, and even ear protection we use when we run the jackhammers. So you can't have too much safety.
Okay, a few years back, I wasn't wearing a face shield. I was wearing my sunglasses. Luckily, tar come up, hit the sunglasses, and hit me in the face. Right away, as soon as it hits you, you want to wipe. Well, this stuff's rubber, and when you wipe, you just move it. So it just attaches somewhere else. I mean, no face shield, no burn gel, nothing. So I had to come in here to get help for it. By that time, it was so hard on there, it had to peel skin and all off.
We are trying to change attitudes and habits of our employees from over the last 20 years to be more careful, to realize that there could be harmful gases and materials with the new technology and the different types of materials that are being made now that are a lot different than they were 20 years ago.
We are here to serve the public, and we're here to do the best job we can, but we're not to do it at the risk of our own safety. Nothing is worth that.
Now that you know more about the dangers of harmful materials, let's take a look at some additional maintenance activities where they could be present. Before you light your torches and begin burning, make sure you're wearing proper respiratory equipment. Welding creates a variety of harmful fumes, including lead fumes from paint on a plow, for example, or harmful fumes from zinc coating on guide rails. In addition, when welding indoors, make sure the area is properly ventilated. Batteries contain acids and other chemicals, and while we have systems to handle these, both batteries and their collection systems can leak. Examine the batteries carefully before you handle them and wear proper eye protection, clothing, and gloves. Toluene is used to clean line painting equipment. Even low exposure levels to toluene may cause headache, nausea, and irritation of the eyes. Exposure to a high concentration of vapors can be fatal. In addition, toluene is very flammable. The cleaning operation requires caution and the wearing of rubber gloves, protective clothing, and a respirator.
The day is pretty long. You got something on your mind. You want to get home and take care of something. So what's on your mind is get home. If you don't pay attention to what you're doing, as far as using the right safety equipment, you can hurt yourself.
Avoid spilling diesel fuel whether you're refilling your vehicle at the garage or on the road. Diesel fuel is so common we forget that it's a harmful material. All liquid fuels can be absorbed through the skin and their vapors are harmful if inhaled. Fuel spilled on the ground should be cleaned up immediately and your supervisor notified.
When you work with diesel fuel and you get some on your hands, you try and wash it off. It doesn't always wash off the first time. You go home, sit down and eat supper. Your wife has a good meal going for you. You pick up the fork and you put something in your mouth and you smell diesel fuel. You don't smell the good food you cook.
Engines should be turned off in a garage or any confined space. The exhaust emits carbon monoxide, a colorless, odorless gas which when inhaled replaces oxygen in your blood. Inhalation of carbon monoxide can be fatal. If you must run an engine in a confined space, use the exhaust hose to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. Aluminum brightener and similar solvents for truck bed cleaning contain hydrofluoric acid in concentrated form. Follow directions for use of this solvent. Contact on your skin or inhaling vapors should be avoided. Wear proper clothing, gloves, and respiratory equipment. Sweeping operations create dust, increasing the possibility of inhaling harmful particles. Wear protective clothing and respiratory equipment to protect yourself from these and other harmful materials. Road surface treatment operations emit a wide variety of irritating fumes. Avoid contact on your body or extended inhalation of concentrated fumes and vapors. Avoid extended time near kettle door hatches when adding or checking bituminous sealant materials. And similarly, avoid extended time near the propane heaters on tar buggies.
I jumped out of the truck and decided to check the tank to see how much hot oil was in there, and when I raised the lid I got splashed in the face and the hands with the hot oil. If I'd had my safety shield on and my gloves on, I would not got splashed with the oil.
Now that you have a new appreciation for the dangers of harmful materials and wastes, and for how you can minimize your own and your fellow workers' risks, put this new appreciation to work. Your on-the-job experience is invaluable. Use it, along with the information we have provided you, to reduce your exposure to harmful materials. Be on guard, no matter what activity you're involved in. When you get right down to it, it's your brain that's your first line of defense. Think out situations. In known harmful situations, such as in the use of hazardous products, read the manufacturer's directions and the manufacturer's safety data sheets, or MSDS, and follow them. Wear personal protection equipment if that's what's necessary. Protect yourself from unknown harmful situations by seeking any information available to you before you go out on the job. On site, use your senses, but be especially careful about inhaling fumes or dust or touching unknown materials. As you know now, harmful materials can be found anywhere, even in the most unlikely places. And often the presence of these materials goes unrecorded. So stay alert. Just because a location is isolated and looks clean, that's no guarantee of the absence of harmful materials. Or, just because a location is in constant use, that's no guarantee of the absence of harmful materials either. Highway maintenance activities may be the very thing that disturbs such wastes and makes them active. Yes, be on your guard. But keep your perspective. You can work safely and minimize your risk. If you suspect the presence of waste, the most important thing you can do is communicate the information immediately to your coworkers and supervisor. It's better to over-communicate than to let some harmful situations go undetected.